What's up, everybody? So as you know, there are, especially if you've watched some of the past videos, there are a handful of different ways that you can make money with a food truck or a food trailer. On today's video, I'm going to tell you the two most important things that you need to know about scheduling dates with a vendor and or a business. Okay, so number one, we as business owners or aspiring business owners, we tend to focus on what we have to do, what is going on in our business, what's going on in our world, our schedules, what we have booked, what we don't have booked, the whole thing like that, right? Well, what's not really given or taken into account is what about the flip side? What about the vendor that's bringing you in to feed their employees or to feed their family or whatever it is, whatever kind of event that they're having? How much time is put into thinking about their schedule and what they have to go through to bring in food trucks for their people? The reason why I bring this up and the reason why it's number one is because this is very, very, very important for probably reasons that you probably haven't considered unless you've been on somebody else's truck and you've seen this before, right? So the person who is working at that office, who is, because there's only really usually that I've ever seen in my years, there's only one person who handles scheduling food trucks to come in to feed the employees, whether it be a catered event, the business is paying for it, or it be that you're just going and then the employees who want to eat from the truck come out, they pay regular transaction. There's one person that's in charge of doing that. It's not their sole work that they do day in, day out. It's just an added little thing that they do in addition to whatever their job description is, right? And those people who know about food trucks to come in, who know about that person who is organizing this, they depend on that person's information about what's going on because they base their day, at least their day as far as food goes, they base their day off of what that person has scheduled. Now, this is a very stressful situation for that person because they're dealing with whatever local trucks are available to them, and a lot are unprofessional and some are very professional. And the stress comes from when you book a truck, you move on to the next thing, and you're in that person's mind, they're thinking, okay, that date's taken care of. I can move on to this date. And however many, they usually have a certain amount of dates per season being the amount of months that they consider themselves open for a truck to come. If you're in a part of the country where you get winter, or a part of the world where you get a winter or in the fall, normally they'll start these schedules towards the end of spring and then go through maybe the end of fall, sometimes just through the end of the summer. But they're not, unless you live in a warm climate all year round, it's not open all year. So they have a set amount of days and they can actually put a number on that day. Like, let's say, for instance, there's 25 dates available this season. So, of course, they're going to have some other favorite trucks be repeat dates, but let's just say 15 different trucks come and then you have 10 other dates where you have a repeat truck come or whatever. So once those dates are full, that person is hoping that these trucks do their job based on the agreement that the two of you had to show up. Well, that doesn't always happen. But after a couple times, that person starts to look bad and that person starts to get fed up. And it could be completely none of your fault as a business because you were there when you're supposed to be. You were open. You did what you were supposed to do. It can be none of your fault at all. But those other businesses, those other trucks that didn't do their job, they make the industry look bad as a whole. That's a lot of the reason why I created this YouTube page and make these videos, is so the industry can become stronger as a whole, can be aware of these different dynamics that go on that you probably wouldn't be aware of if you haven't been on the road and you haven't been in these certain situations to see this firsthand. Canceling on vendors and not showing up when you're supposed to can completely kill your credibility as a food truck. People are frustrated. They knew that you were coming, so they didn't pack a lunch. They didn't have anything set up for lunch because they expected you to be there. Now you cancel or you no-show. What am I going to do for lunch now? Now I got to figure it out. I only have a certain amount of time to go get lunch. And I mean, people, you know how people get. You could even be yourself. If you're hungry, you can get a little angry. You can be frustrated. You can be short-tempered. And who needs an office full of people like that? I mean, listen, people, this stuff is a big deal, especially to your business. Now, those people, word spreads fast about what you did at somebody else's place. Like, you can't just think this is some one-off where you didn't show and, okay, well, it is what it is. I'll just move on to the next one. Like, word spreads. Those people at that job, they go home and they talk. Though that person that's organizing that event, they may get contacted by another business, say, hey, how's so-and-so, when they come to your place, and then they talk. Like, this stuff can trickle down and spread. And next thing you know, you have a reputation and you wonder why your emails are not going off as much as they used to. But it's because you have shown a propensity of not doing good business or not being responsible for the dates you booked. So this is very, very important that if you discuss this, if you book this date, you need to do everything possible to show up and work your event. There will be days where if you have a truck where something may happen, something may break, you may have a breakdown, things can happen. If I were you, I would show as much proof to whoever that person is that contacted that business, that vendor. I would show as much proof as I can that this really did happen. So they don't have to guess and just take your word for it. You can show proof and they'll say, okay, well, there's nothing you could do about that. Let's just reschedule you. I'll let everybody know. If they don't have that information, who knows what they think and what they're saying in there. And, they may not book you again, especially if it happens twice. Some places, and actually the majority of the time, like I said, because they have these certain windows of time of what they will call a season, you can get booked a couple months in advance. Now, you can have your own policy as far as how far out you want to book different events. Like, I've been asked to do a wedding 2 years in advance. And I understand why people could be planning for something like that 2 years in advance. But personally, there's too many different factors, too many things going on. I can't say what's going to be going on 2 years from now. So I try to keep my windows from 4 months from 2 to 4 months is the max that I will book anything out. If that person really wanted me there, I would just say, hey, listen, just reach out to me. If your wedding is in June, just reach out to me in February, March of the same year, and I'm sure I can get you on the schedule. But you have to be very, very conscious of how far you're booking out, because things happen. Your business idea and your model may change. You may see an opportunity come up that you want to move towards, and it could be something totally different than what you were thinking and working towards yesterday. So be careful about these dates, how far you book them out. Also be careful about double booking yourself. I've literally seen some trucks just take everything that comes into their inbox or the rings on their phone, take everything. And then when it's time to actually do it, they look at it that day and say, well, I think I'll go here and not go there. And man, can you imagine that sort of reputation? I've seen trucks do this. It happens, okay? Stay organized, stay on top of your schedule, look at your dates, understand what you have going on. Number 2 is just to reiterate what I just said, being organized. If I were you, I will have multiple calendars. I will have a whiteboard that I write all my dates on that I can see. I will have an app on my phone where I have all my dates and my information sending me notifications. One thing to also do is, even though the majority of your serving times are going to be, in a certain window, like most lunch services are from like 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Evening shifts are usually from 4 to 7, 5 to 8. Evening shifts are a little bit more varianced because you're dealing with dinner shifts and people will have a lot more time to hang out and do different things and stuff like that. But just verify the time with the organizer. Verify that, hey, I'm open from 11 to 2. After 2, I close and I'll be cleaning up. So just make sure that people know so I'm only open from 11 to 2, 10 to 2, 11 to 3, whatever it is. Just verify that so everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody can be happy. What you want to do just to keep the goodwill is just always respect people's time. Once you have that track record of showing up and being where you're supposed to be, those dates where somebody else canceled or didn't show, they'll call you to replace them. If you're available and if you can run out that day and do it. It creates a ton of new business for you, not to mention just that day. But those people who work there also know that you came in on short notice and you helped out, and I didn't have to scramble for lunch because this other truck didn't show. Like, they remember that. They talk about that. Just the reverse of when you don't show and you don't do what you're supposed to do, how they talk about you. It's just a reverse. When you do show in place of somebody, or you can do something short notice, that's just nothing but organic marketing for you. That's only going to help you. They will talk about you and refer you 10 times more than they will if they just had a good lunch with you, and that's that. Even though they will still talk about you, it goes a lot further. Number 2 is a lot shorter than 1 just because it's a little bit more straightforward. Number 1 is nuanced, but these are 2 things that you really, really need to know when you're scheduling, because it's very, very critical to your business, especially if you're trying to grow and trying to build a reputation in the community, in your city, and you want to branch out, or whatever it is you want to do as far as business goes, this is very, very, very important that you understand and how far this can go for your business. It helps you out because you're not as stressed, you're not scrambling around, you're organized, you're where you're supposed to be. Your anxiety level is a lot lower because you're organized, you're where you're supposed to be, you're doing what you need to do. So take these two things, listen to this as many times as possible, because it's a difference between being one of the better trucks in the city and not something as small as this. People always think about the food. Well, this stuff here can go a lot further than just the food. These are the things that separate the elite trucks from the average to bad, is simply just being organized, being where you're supposed to be, being there on time, taking care of what you're supposed to take care of. That's it for this video, guys. I will see you on the next one.